Thanks for joining again today. I'm Cleophie, your host, and today we'll explore something fascinating again. Stay with us, and Jack and Wilson will enlighten you with today's topic. Please hit the like and subscribe in the meantime. Hey Jack and Wilson, the floor is yours.
Welcome to the deep dive. This is your shortcut, really, to cutting through all the noise and finding some clarity in, well, a world that's just overflowing with information.
Yeah.
You know that feeling, right? When you stumble upon something maybe unexpected and find this surprising depth of insight.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's exactly what we're aiming for today. We're about to embark on a real deep dive into a profound Quranic parable. It's about light and darkness.
A classic theme, but with some unique twists here.
Exactly. And we'll be pulling insights from the historical context, looking at ancient Medina, the Banu Isra'il.
And trying to connect it all back.
Yes, connected to that universal human experience. You know, seeking guidance, dealing with social pressure, and maybe most intriguingly, why some people seem to remain blind, even when the truth seems so clear.
It's a really fascinating way ancient texts can shed light on, well, modern dilemmas. Our source for this is an insightful excerpt from a reflection on the Quran. It offers a pretty unique perspective on faith, human choices, the complexities there, and the journey of the heart.
So get ready for some hopefully serious aha moments. We'll touch on leadership, societal influence, and maybe most importantly, personal accountability.
Yeah.
But to really unpack this parable, this powerful story, we kind of have to set the historical stage first, don't we?
Definitely. Context is everything here.
Okay, so let's picture pre-Islamic Medina. It's a city, our sources tell us, constantly grappling with disunity. You've got something like 14 warring tribes.
Mainly the Khazraj and
Oh,
Aus, yeah. Locked in these cycles of conflict.
Endless conflict. And they were yearning, really yearning for a unified leader, maybe even a king, someone to kind of solidify their objectives, bring some peace.
And there was someone, right? Abdullah ibn Ubay. He was almost there, poised to take that role just before the Prophet, peace be upon him, arrived.
You can almost feel that pain, can't you? The pain of that constant disunity.
Yeah, it's palpable.
Yeah.
And what's really striking is, in that same city, you also have the Banu Isra'il. And these were people who, as the Quran describes it, had prophets, every generation,
Yeah.
like links in a chain, a continuous line of messengers.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was this gap, a pretty significant one, 600 years.
Wow, yeah.
And they were actively waiting for their final prophet. Their literature foretold he'd come to Medina, lead them to victory.
So they were expecting him there.
Exactly. Some Jewish families even migrated to Medina specifically for this reason, based on those prophecies they had.
Okay, so we have these two very distinct groups in Medina, the warring tribes, the waiting Israelites. Given how different they were, did they share, well, any common ground, especially regarding leadership for the city?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh.
And the common ground is, I think, quite profound. Both groups were deeply, deeply hoping for a unified leader, someone who'd bring victory, defend them. That shared hope is crucial.
Okay, that sets the scene. But then the prophet arrives in Medina. How did his presence maybe unexpectedly complicate things for both groups?
Yeah. That's where it gets really complex.
Right.
For the Israelites, the issue was, well, he wasn't from within us, meaning he wasn't an Israelite prophet like they might have expected.
Okay, identity politics even then?
Pretty much. And for Medina's own politicians, the local figures like Ibn Ubay, he was seen as an immigrant from Mecca, not a born resident, not a tribe member.
So the idea of a foreigner from Makkah leading them.
That created huge friction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Suddenly, that shared hope for a leader gets challenged by questions of identity origin.
And this is where the Quran's description of hypocrites starts to come in.
Exactly. It's subtly, or maybe not so subtly, stings both some among the Banu Isra'il and these Medinan politicians. Both groups, or elements within them, were struggling with genuine belief and acceptance.
Okay, so that's the backdrop. Let's shift now from that history to the core of our deep dive today, this parable of lighting a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Our source mentions the Arabic word mathal. It's described as a special kind of comparison. What makes mathal so significant? How's it different from just, an analogy?
Well, mathal wasn't just thrown around casually. Arabs used it when painting a very unique picture, something powerful, something meant to be echoed over and over again. It's not just comparing person A to person B.
Okay.
All I hear is comparing a situation with another situation. And the core image itself, somebody who tried to light a fire Think about how relatable that is.
That's just for them, right? Desert Arabs.
Exactly. Not something you'd think about in, say, a Roman city with streetlights or a fancy mansion. No, you're out in the wilderness, it's cold, it's dark. You need fire for warmth, defense, guidance. It's immediate, visceral.
Makes sense. So who is this person lighting the fire? Our sources give us, it seems, two compelling interpretations.
Yeah, there are a couple of ways to look at it.
The first one suggests it's about those struggling seekers, right? The Israelites, desperate after centuries of, well, darkness, waiting for their final prophet, believing all their problems were tied to not having that leader.
Mm-hmm. And also the people of Medina searching for that unifying figure. So the fire represents guidance, warmth, defense, all the things they lacked.
But there's another interpretation, maybe a preferred one.
Yes, I think the more nuanced view focuses on the messenger himself, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, but before the revelation of the Quran.
Ah, okay. His personal quest.
Right. Think about his state then. Deeply frustrated by the poverty, the wrongdoing he saw escalating in Mecca. It led him to seek solitude, right? Contemplation in the cave.
Oh, yeah.
That, in a way, was his striking a fire, searching for a solution, searching for a light.
And that leads to this powerful transition you mentioned from Nar to Nur.
Exactly. It's a beautiful connection. Like Musa, Moses, peace be upon him, who when seeking Nar, just ordinary fire, but found divine guidance, Nur, light, and speech from Allah.
Wow.
Similarly, the prophet sought a solution, a fire to fix Mecca's problems, and found the Quran, which is consistently described as Nur, light.
So Nar is fire, Nur is light. Is there a difference in connotation?
Definitely. Nar has heat, intensity. It can represent warning, trial, even punishment sometimes in the Quran. But Nur is pure illumination, guidance, clarity. So this fire, once the prophet lit it through revelation, it completely illuminated everything around him.
Okay, so the light is there. It's illuminating everything. But then we hit this really perplexing statement. Allah took their light away. Or Allah removed their light.
Yeah, it sounds contradictory, doesn't it?
It really does. If the prophet and the Quran, the light, are still right there, how can their light be taken away? It feels counterintuitive.
It's a paradox, but it unlocks a really profound truth about choice and consequence. And it actually connects to earlier verses in the Quran.
How so?
Well, you see this pattern. Like when the hypocrites make fun of Allah, the Quran responds that actually Allah is the one making fun of them, or they try to fool Allah, but really they're fooling themselves.
Okay. A kind of divine mirroring or reversal.
Exactly. So when it says Allah took their light away, the deeper meaning, according to this reflection, is that Allah allowed them to continue walking away from the light.
Oh, I see. The light itself didn't vanish.
No. The light, the prophet, the message was still there. They were the ones actively moving away from it. Allah took it away by letting their own choice play out.
So it's about the choice to turn away. This light, you said, was meant for them. A special gift, unique almost, to the people of Mecca and Medina at that time.
Yes, a direct opportunity.
But when they refuse to use that ability, the ability to see, to appreciate that light, then Allah takes their ability to appreciate that light away.
It's like the source uses these powerful analogies.
Okay.
Imagine keeping your eyes blindfolded for 6 months. When you finally take it off, can you see properly?
Probably not. Your eyes would have adapted to darkness or maybe even damaged.
Right. Or if you tie up your legs for 6 months and don't use them, can you just stand up and walk?
No, the muscles would have atrophied. You'd lose the ability.
Exactly. And the source calls this a sad reality. You have people sitting right there next to the prophet, hearing the Quran directly, yet their hearts can't see.
Wow.
They deprive themselves of the ability to benefit, and so that ability becomes, in a sense, paralyzed, removed from them.
It really makes you think how we can be so close to something good or true and just not see it or choose not to.
It absolutely does. And this refusal, this walking away, leads to, as the verse says, darknesses on top of darknesses on top of darkness.
It compounds.
Yeah. As they willingly walk further from the light, they plunge more and more and more into the dark. They move closer, spiritually, to the state of the kafur, the disbelievers, who are described elsewhere as already having blinds over their eyes. It's a self-inflicted deepening darkness.
That paints a very vivid and quite sobering picture of spiritual decline.
It is.
And the origin or the process of this spiritual blindness is explained further by the specific order of disabilities mentioned next in the verses. Deafness, then muteness, then blindness.
The sequence is important.
Our source makes this crucial point. In the spiritual realm, the ultimate light is what goes in the ear, meaning the Quran, which is heard.
Right. Revelation primarily comes through hearing.
So how does this sequence, deafness, muteness, blindness, reveal the way someone loses that connection to truth?
Okay, so the insight here is that the chain of disconnect starts with deafness, spiritual deafness. Meaning they didn't take in the word of Allah. They heard it physically, perhaps, but didn't let it penetrate, didn't truly listen. The analogy used is like a physically deaf person who struggles to speak clearly because they can't accurately hear the sounds they need to copy.
Okay, makes sense.
Spiritually, if you don't truly hear or absorb the truth, you can't respond to it properly, which leads to the next stage.
Which is muteness.
Right. Spiritual muteness. This is presented as a direct consequence of the spiritual deafness. It's the refusal to speak what is true or even what's in your own conscience.
So you might know something is right, but you don't say it.
Exactly. And the source gives this very contemporary feeling example, talking about influencers and followers, though it applies way beyond social media to politicians, community leaders, anyone with influence.
How does that play out?
Well, an influencer, someone people look up to, might privately agree with a certain truth. The example given is something like speaking up about genocide. They might know it's right, but they choose to stay quiet, change the subject, don't talk about it. Why? Fear of losing endorsements, contracts, status, public approval.
That's the cost of speaking out.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then you have the followers, people who have maybe surrendered their brain, as the source puts it, to these influencers. If their chosen leader or influencer rejects something, they then refuse to listen to the opposing truth, even if it resonates somewhere inside.
Why? What's their fear?
Fear of losing the social group, the membership badge.
Yeah.
Belonging. So it leads to this deliberate silence. Okay, I disagree maybe, but I'll just be quiet. I won't say anything.
Yeah.
Muteness.
So we have deafness, not truly hearing, leading to muteness, refusing to speak the truth you might even perceive. What's the final stage then?
The final stage is blindness. And this is presented not just as the end result, but in a way as the origin of the whole problem when you look deeper.
How so? It comes last in the list.
It does, but the blindness here isn't physical. It's described as deliberately ignoring something because it's there. Think about it. The light, the truth, has illuminated everything. It's impossible to genuinely not see it once it's that clear.
So you have to choose not to see it.
Exactly. You have to actively pretend it's not there. So the source concludes that this refusal to listen, deafness, and the subsequent refusal to speak what's truly in your conscience, muteness, that is where the deliberate spiritual blindness truly comes from. It's an active choice to ignore.
Wow, that connects it all back. And it's fascinating that Allah in the parable didn't just take the light away, but it ends with this finality. They will not come back.
Yes. They chose to leave the light's vicinity, and Allah essentially ratified that choice by allowing their ability to return, their spiritual sensitivity, to be removed. It's a depiction, the source says, of those who are stubborn in their way and will refuse to follow Allah's guidance.
Okay. So bringing this home, what does all of this mean for you, our listener, right here, right now?
Well, one major takeaway is that proximity isn't protection.
Meaning?
Meaning, as the source puts it, our closeness to Islam, maybe being physically in a mosque often, attending study circles, being born into a Muslim family that isn't enough, you can be right there and be blind.
We're next to the light source.
And have the light just passing right through you, not illuminating you at all.
And the warning is that none of us are immune from this possibility.
Absolutely. If we stop using that gift that Allah has given us, that innate capacity to perceive and appreciate truth, then Allah starts removing that ability from us. It's like spiritual atrophy. Gradual disuse leads to loss of capacity.
That also suggests that embracing the light often means going against the grain, doesn't it?
Very much so. The one who lights the fire, maybe just one, the source notes, often going against the majority. Choosing to follow the light frequently means choosing what's unpopular.
Unpopular where?
Maybe in your family, your community, your social circle. Even, the source points out, in outwardly Muslim countries where societal pressures can make simple acts of faith, like wearing hijab or praying visibly or speaking certain truths, a target for ridicule or isolation.
So there's this constant tension.
A core tension, yeah. Between convenience and conviction. It's just more convenient to stay blind, easier to not listen, simpler to think something but never have the courage to say it. Following the light, staying attuned to it, acting on it, that takes work. Whereas, as the source bluntly puts it, staying in the blind is easy.
That's a powerful, maybe uncomfortable thought to end on. It really brings the parable right into our daily choices.
It does.
And on that note, maybe here's a final thought for you, the listener, to consider. In your own life right now, where might you be choosing convenience over conviction? Is there any light, any truth you might be deliberately ignoring, maybe because it's uncomfortable or unpopular? And what might be the personal cost of that choice down the line? Just something to reflect on. The silent agreements we make, the truths we choose perhaps not to see or speak.
Thank you for joining us for today's podcast. I hope you've gained some valuable insights. If you're a truth seeker, yearning for divine light and ready to step out of darkness, now is your moment. The truth is that Allah is the one and only creator of the universe. He has sent over 124,000 messengers and prophets to guide humanity, starting with Adam and culminating with the final messenger, Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon them all. If you resonate with this message, you might be ready to embrace Islam. Simply recite the Shahada, the Islamic declaration of faith. For further support, feel free to join our WhatsApp group. You can send us a private message there. The link is in the video description. Don't wait until it's too late. We look forward to connecting with you soon.